You're running for governor of Texas.
Right.
How's that going?
Well, it's like pushing a large ball up a hill, and I've got 6 clicks to go just to get into the stage where people know who I am, right? And I expected that. We expected that. I was approached months ago by a group of Texans and people from around the country. Hey, would you consider it? I said, not no, but F no. No, I'm not doing this. No, I can't do it. He's got a $100 million war chest. This is the craziest thing ever. And then over time, did a feasibility study. Over time, I said, well, how many things have I've been told no that I can't do in the past? Maybe I'm just crazy enough to try this.
Let's go.
Welcome to Citizen. We got a special guest today, Pete Chambers, doctor or colonel, either way.
Doc.
Right, Doc Pete Chambers. Let's get into it. Yeah. Before we get into your career and whatnot, what you're doing now, where did you grow up?
I grew up on a smaller farm in North Georgia for part of it. My dad was a traveling physician, ended up in Oklahoma on the Red River on the other side. If you're down here, it's the wrong side of the Red River.
Yes.
But I left home in '83, went to the infantry. They were jumping into Grenada when I got there, so I was hoping that we would get into it. We didn't. Finished my time, broke my leg, couldn't go jump anymore, so I thought I'd get out. So I did and went to college, medical school, all that. I was going to be a cop, and my dad being a doctor, he's like, well, just consider it. So I was a criminal justice major who applied to a medical school, and they laughed at me, but I had the prereqs. And then the guy that was senior guy on the staff said, I was at the Trojan Reservoir. They don't want you. I want you. He was a Marine. He's passed since, but that's how I got into med school. So it's always some kind of criminal way to get into these things that are seemingly impossible.
Yeah.
I was 11 Bravo, by the way. So
Yeah.
when guys would say that to me, oh, I can't go to college, I'm like, dude, shut up.
I went to college twice before I
There you go.
joined the infantry.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
I enlisted too. I didn't.
Yeah, no. I'm
yeah.
a Mustang. Yeah.
What part of North Georgia?
A little place called Buford, B-U-F-O-R-D, not Beaufort, like South Carolina. Yeah.
I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina,
Okay.
so not too far.
Not too far
away from there. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So it's not really home. I don't remember it much, but Oklahoma has been the place I've lived the longest. Just about 6 miles north of Gainesville, if you know where that's at, up in the Red River area. Texoma is what they call it, and it's hay country and horse country.
What made you decide to join the military?
My dad was a partisan in World War II. He fought for the U.S.
What does that mean?
Partisans. He was a guerrilla. Essentially, OSS came into Balkan states. He was from that region. They hired a bunch of kids to work for him, and he fought for this country. And under the Marshall Plan, he was able to come to the U.S. and become a U.S. citizen and go to college. He did all that, became a doc, and that's what he did.
A lot of those guys, the first generation of what we now call Green Berets, were Eastern European dissidents.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks don't know about the history of that.
Yeah, and that was, you can say that's kind of a legacy for me, even though he wasn't officially an OSS guy, but he fought as a 12-year-old when he started fighting. And so I got no breaks as a kid. So when I was 17, he actually went with me and signed me up. And I knew it. Hey, love this country. Let's give back to this country. You're the senior, well, I say senior ranking son. You're the oldest son, and you're going to give back. So that's what I did, and I don't regret it. And I thought I was going to finish my time in 1990, honorable discharge, and I stayed in the reserves, and then I came back in after 9/11. I went to medical school to be a emergency guy. That's what I wanted to do, and I ended up in SF as a special forces as a battalion surgeon, and worked up to flight surgeon, and then in 2010. I went in and resigned my commission to go back to the Q course because I always wanted to go. And they said, you can't, we're not letting doctors go. I said, no, I'm going to resign my commission and become and they sent me down to the shrink. This is a great story. And I go down the hallway of the shrink at USASOC headquarters at Bragg, and there's a guy sitting there, his name is Bob, I'll save his last name, he's a retired colonel. And I went to med school with Bob. I didn't know he was there working there, he's the shrink. And so he says, hey, I'm supposed to assess you why you want to resign your commission. I said, because since 2003, I've been with SF. It's 2010 now, and I've been out in the field. Every time we're minus an 18 Delta, a medic, Green Beret medic, I go on a mission. I want to get the same, training that everybody else got.
Yeah.
Well, we don't do that. Well, there's my resignation. He takes it down the hallway. He talks to the CG, General Sokolic at the time. CG goes, bring that guy in here. He goes, why do you want to go? And then I tell him. He's like, bullshit. You just want to get the long tab. I said, well, that would be nice if I complete the course, sir. But he said, all right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign a waiver, and you're going to be the first doctor we're going to send through the Q course. And I was 44 at the time.
You were how old?
Selection. 44.
44, okay.
I'm 60 now.
So Colonel Kurtz
Yeah, exactly.
from Apocalypse Now went to airborne school at 38, and that was considered to be... Now, airborne school back in the day was quite a bit harder than it is now.
Yes, it was.
Everything was done in jump boots. We're running around in sneakers and shit now.
Yeah.
Like when my dad went back in the 70s, I think it was probably quite a bit more difficult.
More difficult.
Now, it doesn't need to be... Under no circumstances should it be a 3-week class.
No.
I kind of feel like it should be a 1-week class, and if you can't figure it out, you just got to go somewhere else. Because
you ever hear how the Irishmen do it? Kevin Owens was a 18 Zulu. He was a team sergeant. He was an Irish paratrooper before that. He said, day one, you were jumping.
It's not complicated, to be honest, right?
To get your A license,
keep your fucking feet and knees together. Get an A license and learning how to point, land, and stuff like that, and control a parachute.
Right. Yeah.
There's some work to be done there.
Yeah.
What is it? 25 jumps, I think.
Yeah, it's 25 to go on your own.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but like jumping out of a static line, there's 3 things: keep your feet and knees together, check your fucking canopy, and know how to operate your reserve and stuff like that. And that's it.
Roger that.
That's literally it.
But you know what they do. It's the 3 weeks is just going to break you down.
Yeah.
You're going to.
Well, back in the day, that made sense, though, right?
Well, we had a gig pit when I went through.
Yeah.
And it's it's changed. I mean, it has changed.
Well, Hexeth is signing a memo to bring back the shark attacks or whatever the fuck they call it, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Because it's not about abusing people; it's about creating chaos and not creating chaos for the sake of it, but to show people that you can still perform in chaos.
Well, from the medical side, I tell you that a lot of what I did after I became a long tab guy was creating different stress inoculation training techniques to because I'd been through combat at that time, and to bring back that realism to it. So I was able to do that until I left. 2015, I left third group.
Let's go back a little bit. I've got a lot of questions. So, you enlisted originally in '83, you said?
83.
And in the infantry.
Showed up September '83 at Harmony, not Harmony Church. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Harmony Church. I'm trying to think. Sand Hilton was being built. Sand Hill was being built at the time.
So, do you remember what month, what time of year was it back then?
September.
That's when I went.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was September. It was raining. It was cold. Got there off the bus, screaming and hollering, all that good stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know because I grew up in that area and it's humid as shit in the summertime. I didn't know if I would rather have gone through in the summer or not. Probably not. But once we did like the field problem towards the end of A school and stuff like that, you're out there for a couple weeks. It was late December, early January. It was like it kind of sucked. Not gonna lie. It rains a lot down there in the wintertime. Yeah. Which I think I might rather be hot than wet,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, wet is because once you stop, if you're cold, you're frozen.
Yeah. But it did make so when we forced march back to Honor Hill, it was kind of nice that it was raining, to be honest, at that point, because we're sweating our asses off, and then there's like a cool breeze in the rain. I'm like, all right, this worked out. What unit did you go to?
Echo 9-2, Echo Company, 9th Infantry, 2nd Training Brigade.
That's in Benning.
At Benning.
Yeah, I was in D150.
Okay.
What was your first duty assignment?
Oh, my first duty assignment, 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry, Bobcats, Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, 25th ID.
Oh, wow. Electric light or lightning, strawberry lightning.
Yeah,
what
I think
the fuck they call it? Electric strawberry, something like that.
That was in '84. Yeah.
Was that unit still split between there and Alaska?
No, it was
Alaska
before
had
that.
Geronimo back then, right?
Correct. Yeah,
the 506.
Yeah, second
or some
ID.
shit, I think.
Second ID, Indian Head. Yeah, Geronimo. No, at the time it was all there. For us that were kind of the recon guys, it was the beginning of starting the air assault school and all those kind of things. That's really where that started, and then it went on because it was a light mech unit at the time when I first got there. So we were still driving M151A Deuces, the Jeeps. Of course, the M.
I like those things.
Oh, way better than a Humvee.
Yeah, Humvees
you
are
can
too
go through
goddamn
trees.
heavy. You can't do anything with a Humvee. You can drive through an urban area And
as long as it's linear.
as long as it's linear, it's a little bit better. It only goes 35 miles per hour because of all the fucking armor on it, so you can't get away from anything. I hate that thing.
Yeah, I'd rather be fast.
I would rather walk than be in that thing, to be honest.
Oh yeah, many ways. And forget about the the armored vehicles. Don't put me in one of those.
Yeah, that's just a magnet. Fuck that. Anyways, so you go into you're in 25th ID. Get out. Well, you said 1990-ish?
Yeah, 1990 is. I went from my active duty to a reserve unit, infantry. It was, but I was considered in the slot of a forward observer. I had no idea what I was doing, so they made me an RTO. I was a kid. So I carried a radio.
Forward observers actually did their job back then because we were still training for like an attrition style war.
And I didn't.
Now it's like
fact. And I didn't get the MOS because I stayed in RTO. It was just where I was at. I was in college, so did that until 90. And then
you didn't go to the A school. You were malassigned for a little while. That's probably better.
It was better.
You don't want to go to that fucking A
school. It
school.
well-rounded me, and I couldn't jump anymore. I had hardware plates and screws and all these things from a break. But and they told me, why don't you get out and just go to college? You got back then what was called the VEAP program, VEAP, Veterans Education Assistance Plan, before the new GI Bill. So anyway, I go to college, and I was going to be a criminal justice guy, but all that changed.
What made you decide? At what point did you go to medical school?
I went to school. Here's the part. I didn't know that I had the ability to retain information out of a book until I went to college. In high school, I didn't care. I knew I was going to be a soldier. I was a C student, played sports.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't care.
I graduated high school with like a 2.2 or 2.3, and I had a 4 through all the time, all 4 times I went to college.
Yeah, same here at college. High 3.9. Throughout college. Because I had a different mindset. I wasn't there to go to party. I wasn't in fraternities. I didn't do any of that. I just studied and worked 2 jobs and enjoyed it. And then somewhere along the way, my dad, I went back to see him. I talked to him, and he said, it was my 3rd year of school. He said, you ever think about being just a small town doctor or something like that, like me? And I said, no, I really don't. And then it just kind of was in my heart a little bit. I always enjoyed it. I used to ride around with him doing house calls. I mean, it was great. I was holding my finger on a kid that had a pumper, a bleeder. There I was, as a 12-year-old, helping my dad. And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to take the prereqs. I did it over the summer. And then I took the MCAT and did great. I can study. I mean, I didn't know it at the time until I actually applied myself. But because I had the ability, the discipline that I had from the military to sit in a chair, right, for long periods of time, and I studied. And I would sit there and have a Copenhagen and, coffee all night and study. And I worked a night job where I was a security guard at a newspaper and just sat at the front and looked at people passing me their IDs. So I could study all night long and slept when I needed to, and that's what I did. But it set the conditions for, if you will, military speaking, for success later when it came to didactics. Yeah. Because medical school ain't no joke, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the interview. I told you about that. The guy says, "Come on in, but don't F up, Doc." Or Pete, I wasn't Doc back then. Don't mess up. Roger that, chosen reservoir Marine. I mean, that was on the staff, and he was back there. He said, I went back in that room, and they weren't going to take you. We had 3 seats left in that class, and there were 40 applicants.
This is for medical school.
Medical school. And it was the University of New England. So, there's they consider themselves Ivy League kind of thing. And I had never been there. I thought, I'm going to try out for a school out on the East Coast, and I'm going to check out the ocean. I was just a kid. And so he goes, I went back in there and told those sons of bitches, I was a true Marine at the chosen fucking reservoir. You better not fuck up, Chambers. I was like, roger that. So I got in, and I passed, right? On the bell curve, I was on the upslope. But what they call the last guy in medical school? Doctor.
Doctor, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so I was committed to not be a rocket scientist type, pathophysiology or anything like that. Neurosurgeon, no. I'm going to be the guy that stops bleeding, because I knew I was going back in the military. And I knew I was going to go back to SF because that's where I ended up. But I just knew it. It was in my heart. And I knew that some way or another I was going to get to go to the Q course because I wanted to finish that task that I had way back in the day before the bad break. So it's just one of those goals, And then when you get there, that's the funny thing is, you get there and it's like, I'm still doing infantry. I just have cooler toys and I have better radios. Yeah.
So how long was it before? Where'd you do your residency?
Down in Beaumont, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Little place down there, Port Arthur.
Yeah.
It's, Port Arthur, Beaumont, right next to each other. It was a primary care residency, just basic stuff. Become a doc and do primary care, which is what they were looking for at the time. I could have, had there not been wars that were coming on and things like that, I got the ability to read tea leaves on war sometimes and know where it's at and know on the battlefield where it's at too, having done it for a while now. But at the time I took that residency, it was great because we had the oil rigs off the coast and traumas would come in and I could actually work on the back of an air ambulance, go pick people up, and it was great. Prepared me for exactly the mission I stepped into in really 2003 is when I came into.
And you enlisted as a medical doctor.
As a doctor.
You either go straight, depending on the billet, it's either straight to captain or to major.
I went to captain.
Yeah. So I don't remember under what conditions it's major, but there are some conditions.
There is.
It's
longer residency programs. It's people that have worked out in the civilian sector for a long time.
I think some surgeons too, like specialist people that are
I've seen them come in lieutenant
neurosurgeons.
colonel.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not. People think it's crazy, but there are people who do logistical type stuff back in wartime, right? Who get promoted to lieutenant general sometimes, like Bill Knutson, for example.
Okay, yeah.
William Knutson was the CEO of General Motors.
Okay.
And they promoted him immediately. We needed planes to defeat the Germans and the Japanese, and they promoted him to lieutenant general. So everybody had to do what the fuck he said. And so you're a 3-star. Now you run the whole aircraft program. So it's not. To be honest, I think we need more stuff. We need more battlefield promotions during time of war. We didn't do any of that in this last 25 years of war for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. There's like a huge disconnect between the gunfighter crowd and the command crowd that is a big problem when it comes to prosecuting a war. That's got to be, those people need to be working in tandem. We're always going to bitch at each other.
Yeah.
They're going to bitch that we're out doing stupid shit all the time, and we're going to bitch that they're not giving us the stuff and the intel we need. But there's got to be synergy between those two groups to win.
It's the fight we call the ADCON versus OPCON. I have operational control over my troops, and I'm in the field with them. Yeah. They have administrative control over us in the sense that they run the widgets of what happens behind the battlefield. That was a huge. It's what built the. When you went out the gate, you had to have these op orders and these plans that were just to go down and do a KLE.
Like whatever happened to react to contact. Hey, like just I called division and be like, hey, we're gonna go drive around and see if we can start some shit.
As you should.
You guys keep CAS on standby.
Right.
I'll hit you up if we need you.
Yeah, we need
that. I mean, that's kind of like we were lucky to be away from the flagpole quite a bit. So Taji was our home base, but it was 30 clicks away, and we're 800 meters away from Sadr City. So shit's going to pop off one way or another no matter what we do, right? Yeah. So we had a lot of latitude in being able to run around and fuck shit up. But, if you're depending on what task force you're on or if you're a slice on another battalion or brigade or something like that, it can get pretty, in the regular Army, it can get pretty stupid.
It does, and it did. And the problem was that the generals at the time had no combat experience when we went.
The majors.
The majors.
Like the people that were running all the S shops at brigade and battalion had no combat experience until 2008 or 9.
Right.
Really?
As the captains, lieutenants rolled in. Right. Yeah, that was a problem set. I did watch that happen. I was at the flagpole 2/3 of the time, but because I was the doc.
I
could circulate. I'm special staff, so I had a PA. He'd run the kill TV, we called it, the OPSEN, and they'd all sit there and talk about where's Doc, and they'd be like, he's on that sort of CH-47 lander right there.
Yeah.
And the commander, at first was against it. I only got one of you. I'm sure you get more docs, but here's the deal. I'm there, so I get to be the first hands after the 18 Delta hands to me, and I can fly back on the bird. So that was a measure that I took that a lot of times got yelled at for, but in the long run, people came home alive.
What was so you commission? I don't actually know how this works.
It's called a direct commission.
Yeah, you direct commission. You still go to OCS?
No, it's hilarious.
That's good.
It's basically it's a fork and knife school. It's to teach doctors and nurses and PAs and probably physical therapists, how to wear a uniform, how to march. It's fork and knife. And they made me the class leader, of course, even though I had lieutenant colonels and stuff. And so, I could march them.
Prior listed, obviously.
Yeah. So it was easy. But it was hard in the sense that here I am doing morning formation. There's a major standing there, hasn't shaved. And I'm like, sir, you need to shave. He's like, I shaved. I'm like, that's 2 days old, sir. You got 5 minutes, go. Here I am, the captain, telling him, but,
The billet's the billet.
Billet's a billet.
The rank doesn't mean
doesn't
shit
matter.
in that place.
It doesn't matter, especially not in that world. I saw a lieutenant colonel had his rank on. This was when we had the BDUs and the pin on rank, and his oak leaf was upside down, so the stem was facing upward. And I'm like, sir, let me fix this for you. And he's I think he was an X-ray guy, radiologist. Okay, and those things are what they're there for.
Yeah.
And so it was great. They didn't have to learn how to shoot, move, and communicate.
Right.
They did a few problem-solving deals out there at Fort Sam, Fort Camp Bullis, some problem-solving, team building events. It was really neat. Land nav was about 3 hours, and they just had to make it straight line to one place. Yeah.
Okay, well,
God help us if the docks are leading point.
I guess that makes sense though, because they're really only if they're out somewhere, they just got to get to one place. Probably just get back to hardball, to be honest.
Just get back to somebody that can rescue you.
Yeah,
I've done that before downrange.
Yeah. What was your first duty assignment? They put you in a hospital first? Did you?
Nope,
go to
I never worked in a hospital as a doc, ever a clinic or a hospital. My first duty assignment was 1st Battalion, 19th Group. It was a guard unit out of Utah. I wasn't from there, but that was the billet that was open. I went downrange with 2nd Battalion, 5th Group. They needed a doc, so I went over and backfilled. Did 90 days boots on ground with a infantry unit out of Washington State. I volunteered.
Like a Washington Guard unit or the 2nd
Washington
ID?
Guard.
Oh, wow.
It was great. They were underneath the 3rd BCT of the 1st Cav, so that's who they were working for, right there on Irish between the gate, 12, and back to Biap. So they were there.
Yeah, between 12 and
matter of fact, their first KIA was right next to me on the 12th of May 2004. Happened right there. So I felt compelled to go back to Washington State a year later and meet with his family and stuff as a memorial service. But yeah, they became brothers to me just as much as my SF brothers. Infantry guys do the hard work.
Yeah, that's a lot of people say that. So you're running rotations with a variety of units, and then at some point, I won't say you decided, but at some point I'm sorry, I won't say that you decided to go to the Q course, but you decided that now was the time to do it for whatever reason.
Correct.
Right?
It was the time. I was at 3rd Group. I went to active. I assessed to active duty from the Guard. Went to the Q.
What's that like for an officer?
Takes a year.
It takes a year?
Takes
Holy
a year
shit.
to do. Well, what it took me.
It's like a board assessment and everything?
Yeah, you're going through a lot of assessments, but it's just really, honestly, it's just the bureaucracy of the DOD from the National Guard Bureau side. No big deal. It is what it is. I had a lot of JSETs in between there. Went to joint combined exchange programs. So go down range, train in foreign internal defense, countries that we're allied with. I did a lot of those, trained in 18 Deltas, and then enjoying it. And then just, the community is, to me, is, you're a warrior diplomat, but you also are a direct action guy. So you can do both. We did a lot more of that during the GWAT than we did anything else.
Yeah. What was that like when you said, when you let your command know, or whomever it is, I guess, that you wanted to go to selection?
They were like, Chambers, you're crazy. And I said, yeah, just crazy enough. And they said, well, we can't stop you, so go do what you're going to do and see what happens. And then, obviously.
Did you resign your commission?
No, I had it written out. I walked in there.
But they told you that you're good to go because they didn't want you to resign.
Well, here's exactly how that happened. They gave it to the shrink. He walks it down the hallway. I see the first general. He signs off and says, okay, I'm good with this, but I got to talk to my boss, which was General Mulholland. And so he said, I'll talk to him. And then I got to meet him, and same kind of story. Okay, but we're going to give you a waiver. We'll send you to the Q course as a major, as a 45-year-old going into the, by then 45, by the time I rolled into it, selection. And then it was, what was the other waiver? Age. Oh, and then my AOC, my billet is doc. And so they sent me the Q course to go through the 18 Alpha portion. It's great. I was actually an asset after that.
Yeah. Did they put you through any of the Delta classes as well, or was it just
No, I
the
didn't have
officer
to.
class?
You know, I had medical training. It would have been nice for field stuff, just because going down range, working out of a pack is a little different than
going to the goat lab back then. Or
and I had been there numerous times because
Yeah.
I'd go help out in training 18 Deltas
Yeah,
while I was
yeah.
at Bragg. So I understood it, and I knew how to kind of be an ancillary staff. I was not a full-time staff there, but I could go do that. So that was good. There were courses that we did at Fort Sam that for docs and field medicine. That's great. But the 18 Alpha portion for me was taking all that MDMP stuff that we wish we never had to do, and then forcing it down our throat and building out missions. So that's what we did. So then I went the full Robin Sage, and I jumped in with my team, and we conducted unconventional warfare in Pineland.
And you got tabbed at 47,
47, yeah.
and then what?
Yeah, and then I went to 2nd Battalion, 3rd Group, which was great, the Bush Hogs, and they had I got to be careful of the sensitivities of names of things. At the time, it was called SIF. There's a different name.
Yeah.
And so, it's an extremist force, essentially.
Commander's an
available.
extremist force.
Yeah.
It's direct action.
Direct action.
Yeah.
I was in that battalion, so I wasn't on the that company, but I was there with the company a lot, trained with them a lot.
Did you get to go to Sephardic and all that stuff?
Nope.
Or
Nope.
that
Put in
sucks?
for it. They're like, no, it's gonna.
That might. Well, I've never been, but my buddies told me that's a really good school.
Yeah, Cephalic is the thing that I got to go through, which is, it's good. It's what prepares you for a PMT for downrange. We do that every time we deploy. But and I see why. And I put in for SODIC too. And hey, we'll train you ourselves. Kevin Owens was a sniper instructor there at SODIC. He trained me on the side. He would take me out and go to, because they looked at it like this. You're not going to be stacked up on the door dock. But if you're in a building way back in the back and you got the medic bag, there's no reason why you can't be shooting, right? That's bottom line up front. Whatever the other people say, docs are not non-combatants, only chaplains are. Docs can protect themselves and their troops. That's why they're issued weapons when they go downrange. So being a guy that was 11 Bravo trained, that definitely helped me when it came to the Q course. But it's truly just the training that really happened after the Q course for me that what honed the skill, because I was there a lot with the teams doing stuff, going on J sets, and then deploying with them 100% on the job training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did you deploy with the group after that?
2 with them, 1 with 19th. And
Wait, do you
then-
qualify for well, I guess it's based on your billet.
So I went as task force surgeon. On my
so you
last
don't
trip.
qualify for a CIB, just an EF.
Well, I did for a combat medical badge. So I got a
CMB,
CMB.
yeah.
Because I was in direct combat.
Yeah,
And
we had.
you can't get one for being at the aid station. You get it for being in direct combat.
Yeah. That's we had a guy, my buddy. I can't remember exactly how it all went down, so I don't want to speak out of turn.
Yeah.
My buddy Pat, we're still friends today. He was a cook in our unit, and right before the deployment, they went on right before I got there. Because at the time, the 82nd was doing 4 months off, 4 months on, just bam, 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 back and forth. Mosul, Talifar, all this shit. He was a cook, and our sergeant major was like, you shouldn't be a cook. You should just come out on patrols with us. Because he was obviously an infantry guy, right? I mean, some people just have it in their bones.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know at what point he got his CIB, but at some point he did. And I don't actually know the rules in the Army, if it's the assignment or if you have to have that MOS. Can you only be either Special Forces or 11 Bravo or 11 series?
Yeah, I don't know the
18 to
rules
get
on that side. I know the CMB side better, obviously. I couldn't take somebody that's not a medic and get them a CMB.
Right, yeah, that's
Right,
impossible.
I know that.
But I feel like CIB, if you're out there doing infantry shit.
Yeah, we had a cook in 2nd Battalion, 3rd Group in Tagab Valley District Center. Got into a blue, green on blue, and then manned the walls. And honestly, that dude deserved his Bronze Star with V, and he's every bit of a Green Beret asset than anybody else.
Yeah, there's how would you say? You mentioned it before. There was a lot of direct act. I mean, the Special Forces was created to embed with local nationals and create force multipliers, right? That's why they go to the language school.
That's it.
And a big part of it, I mean, that's a big part of Pineland too,
culture.
right? Big part of Pineland is learning how to develop assets, train these guys up, blah, blah, blah. And during this war, there was some of that.
Absolutely.
But a bulk force, like MP started training Iraqi police and Afghan police.
Yeah, the ETT
instead,
stuff.
Right? Yeah.
Correct.
So freed up a bunch of dudes for quite a bit more gunfighting than typical. I mean, the GWAT is not representative of what Special Forces as an organization is meant to be.
The beginning part of the war, 100%. Horse soldiers, triple nickel, all those guys.
That is all textbook.
Absolutely, textbook. UW. UW and FID are the opposite parts of the coin. Depends on who the client is, if you will.
Yeah.
When it comes to the war in Iraq, we saw a lot more direct action. So the SIF teams were really busy. Those were, Mike Glover's guys and all those. I worked with Mike.
Mike's a good dude.
Oh yeah, he was at my Texas Reserve unit as well, or National Guard unit.
Bit of a knucklehead.
He's
He's a. If ever there was a SIF dude in my mind, it's Mike Glover.
Oh yeah. I'd spent some time up there with Fieldcraft training some folks on medical, and we're pretty close. He'd been through his situation, all that. I think he's fine now, but Mike is a good man.
He is. Yeah, I really enjoy him. I think I had to check, but I think we're going to have him on again soon too. We have him on pretty regularly.
He's a wealth of knowledge, and he can work from literally strategic level thinking all the way down to tactical, no doubt. So Kevin Owens worked with him there for a while, and Kevin's is a quintessential angry Irishman sniper. Who is amazing, and like me, went to the Q course way later in life. He's tougher and would.
Yeah, he was in what's that? It's the Tier 1 Irish unit. It's their counter-terror unit.
And I don't know the name of it, but I knew he was
it's
a
probably some bullshit
but
Gaelic word I could never pronounce anyways.
Aaron go brah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but I learned a lot from him. He took me to sniper comps. We actually got on one sniper comp outside Woody's match.
He ran the school for a while, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
And he was in procurement as well, so he bought the coolest gadgets. But he took me to a Woody's match, and I was going up against a sergeant major from CAG. I won't say his name now because I don't want to embarrass him. But I think I beat him by 1 point, and he walks over to Kevin and goes, "Who the fuck is that guy?" And he goes, "That's our doc." And he goes, "Oh, you mean to tell me they're..." But Kevin trained me.
Yeah. There was a time period there where, I don't know if you remember this, late 2000s, early 2010s, and I think the reason probably is because everybody else is deployed.
Right.
But like the Canadian Air Force snipers were winning all the best sniper competitions. They won like phase. 3 out of 4 or something like that, and then somebody else. I can't remember who the other weird organization was, but then it came back.
We started
Special Activities won. I think, and then Delta just started winning all of them after that. I think it was
I did
Delta.
a 24-hour comp with, there were some CAG Delta guys there, and it was 24-hour sniper challenge out in Utah, and it was a ball buster.
Yeah, I liked what I thought, and hopefully this is going, I know the DoD is now preparing for more of a near-peer style war, which I don't know, I think that's just kind of a reset.
They did start doing that. It was 2015, 2016. Yeah. I was in the Pentagon talking about that, and we were going, okay, no more counterterrorism as the focus, but more.
I think that's a good reset. Get everybody back to the fundamentals a little bit, because GWAT's toning down. We don't know what's going to happen next, but you got to know the fundamentals. No matter what happens in the future, you got to know the fundamentals.
We got to be able to maneuver.
Yeah, they started sending
BCT level.
Special Forces guys back to like JRTC and shit like that, just to get the basics down. What year did you go?
JRTC was 2007.
Oh wow, that's early.
2007
for JRTC for group guys. Shit.
Yeah.
We didn't. I managed to avoid NTC and JRTC my entire career. I was only in for 5 years, but I got.
It's
lucky.
It's like telling saying SEER is wonderful. I mean, SEER sucks. It's the worst thing in the world, but the thing is, it's the best thing in the world for your brain, because you learn what, somebody might be a chest thumper, but they give up real quick sometimes mentally, and so you do learn a lot about yourself and that. Yeah. Same thing with JRTC. It's a suck fest. You're in the swamps. You got prickly heat. Everybody's sucking, but it is a good place to be in the box for training.
Yeah. So you deployed a couple times with ODAs.
Yeah, with SF, and then my last time actually with the Special Operations Detachment Alpha out of the Texas National Guard. That's where Glover was there before me, but he was the sergeant major there, and that was a great trip because I got to work as an 18 Alpha. When I came to Texas, I had
here in Texas.
Here in Texas.
And what was it on Lone Star?
No, that was actually in the Levant. We deployed to the
okay.
Levant. We ran a training essentially with the Jordanians and trained their dudes to go across the berm because we did not have AAA authorities to go across the line into Syria, but we could train their guys to go do what they had to do.
I like Jordan. How are their troops?
They want stuff.
Yeah, they want your sunglasses.
They want your radios. They want Harris radios. They don't want.
Yeah.
They want instead of they wanted H&K, gas guns, and we're like, well, we got Colts. We can't give you that.
What do you mean gas guns? Like 416s and shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So go on eBay, dude. What the fuck are you asking me?
They got a lot of money.
They
right?
do have a lot of money.
And so
Abdullah likes to train. He and his son both like to train.
Oh yeah, no, they were out there with us.
Yeah.
We trained their CT forces. They were
Their CT guys are really good, from what I understand.
completely qualified. Yeah, they're very good. Their
Still
airborne
in the Middle
unit,
East, though. Still in the Middle East, so they're going to try to barter you for all the shit that you have.
That's exactly it.
For sure.
And the funny thing is, we took out their equivalent of what would be their Rangers airborne unit. And probably one of the, I hate to say this, funniest days on a drop zone in my life, watching people coming out of the sky in all kinds of, meat sack configurations, hitting the ground hard.
Jesus
and then literally picking up an unconscious guy. Like, I'm ready to go out there and help him because we already jumped first. And we're just sitting there going, it's just imagine, you got to be polite because there's their command standing next to us. And we're like, ooh.
Yeah.
And so we go out there as a dude that's unconscious, and they're just picking him up and throwing him over their shoulder. I'm like, I think he might have a neck injury.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Check his dick first and see if he's got priapism before you throw him over your fucking shoulder, dude.
We
Jesus
might have a
Christ.
problem, Houston. So, but the Jordanians in general, they're adequate. They're an adequate force until they get to that higher level of, special operations, and then they're pretty good. Nowhere near our guys.
This episode is also brought to you by First Form, firstform.com/Drinking Bros, the best protein in the business. Protein is the building block of life, folks. I say it all the time. You replace every cell in your body over the course of 2 to 10 years, depending on how active you are, how much you eat, and how clean you eat. And if you're replacing it with garbage, you're going to be garbage. So make sure you're eating the best possible protein you can and supplementing with First Form. Don't forget about the micro factors. It's just a little simple pack. Open it up, dump it in your mouth hole, and feel better. They've got the liver detox, which is a great thing for people that like to drink or people who, just want to be healthier. And then they have all these other supplements. They've got great pre-workouts. They've got great protein in all the flavors. And then, of course, for people on the go like us, they have exceptional meat sticks, protein sticks, and a variety of different flavors. And then the level 1 protein bars in a variety of flavors as well. That we talk about this stuff all the time. They're great. So go to firstform.com/Drinking Bros. It's the best company in the world. You've seen us with Andy. You've seen the company. We love these guys. It's a very American company, so go support them and support us. Firstform.com/Drinking Bros. That's 1stphorm.com/Drinking Bros. Well, no, but nobody is. There's a lot of belly aching these days about this country or that country and going to war. Even the big ones, China, Russia, Iran. Nobody is even close to us.
No.
We're not even in the same ballpark. I don't know if you've seen some of these these leaked training videos from China. It looks like that ISIS shit we're on the playground doing on the monkey bars. There are no monkey bars in combat, my friend. That's not a thing. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
It's a choreographed training.
It's very weird. So when did you get out then?
2015, I left active duty, came back to the Texas National Guard, and like I said, I had.
What's your billet? And I guess you're a doc, so in Texas National Guard,
I came back to Texas, but I came back only showing 18 Alpha. Like they knew that I was a doc, but I said I'm coming in as an 18 Alpha. So it was I won't say it was a drug deal, but it worked out. They've
got a lot more latitude than the DOD does.
But I came in more senior because of my rank. I was a senior major by then. So they didn't give me an ODA. They did, but I had 0 members on it. So I had an ODA. It's okay. But I was able to function as an XO, essentially, to the company. And that's what I did. And I was also the commanding officer for the training detachment, getting guys into the pipeline. So it was a perfect place for me. I deployed. It was a non-combat mission, but it was in a combat-ish theater. It was still under OEF or something like that. So we did that one, 7 months there. I came back, did another deployment to Guantanamo Bay. Being a doctor that speaks Farsi and Dari comes in handy with a special operations background. So I went to Guantanamo. That's all I can say about that. Trained a lot there, got huge, great tan, worked about 4 hours a day. It was awesome. And then came back here and then went on 1 or 2, actually 2 J-sets to Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is our area of operations for the SADE in Texas. It's online. You can look it up. It's all open source. And so we did everything from Niger, Mali to Mauritania, Burkina Faso, training foreign troops, foreign internal defense. Finally came back from a trip there, and guess what? Back home, COVID. I'm like, WTF, this is coronavirus. I learned about it in med school. It's a common cold. And so no big deal. And then they said, no, it's a big deal, and you're going to be Governor Abbott's liaison from the Texas Military Department. You just got back from a trip. You're going to sit in the meetings. And that was the worst mission I ever had in my life, because I was literally sitting behind a desk in an operations center in Austin, underground, looking at TV screens, trying to figure out a way to get fired. And I did. And so I just kept saying, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. And they're like, no, we don't say those words. I'm like, yeah, but it'll work. I'm a doc. I use
I don't understand the ivermectin thing. It's been, I think
it's antihelminthic, antiparasitic.
Yeah, I know what it is. I'm just saying, like before the whole COVID thing. I think it had been prescribed. I've seen the data somewhere. It's like 83 million times since
the
it
safety
got
profile on
approved.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I used
like
it for cattle my whole life and had it on my hands, and I never died.
Like every rancher you've ever met has some on his person if he's out with his cows, just in case.
This is a great story. One of my buddies from back home across the red, cowboy, older guy, he says, Doc, he said, I'm taking this ivermectin, and it's a-working. I ain't getting that COVID. And I said, yeah, I believe you, because I'm looking at the docs that were first coming out, listening to it. I'm talking to the ERs going, are you guys seeing a lot of people? No, I mean, there's some people testing positive, but they're not sick. I'm like, so Texas is buying millions of dollars of equipment for this thing, preparing for it, and the taxpayers are sucking
What do you mean,
it
like
up.
masks and shit like that?
PPE, swabs, all this stuff. Some of the boxes came in from China. I'm like, no,
most of those swabs came in from China.
I
By
was
the
there.
way, they couldn't distinguish between the flu and fucking coronavirus.
No, they couldn't, because I could take the bottom of my boot and make it test positive, cycle it enough times.
Jesus Christ.
But the thing that concerned me was when we went and started shutting down things. So we shut down the largest meat packing plant in Texas, Tyson's meat packing plant, and there was nobody sick in line. We're talking about thousands of workers. And there were few people that were hot, a little sweaty because we're waiting outside in line in Amarillo during the summer. So it was like, this is not making sense. And so, eventually I raised enough hell that they found another doctor to take over, and they sent me into the Briar Patch, which is the border, which was awesome because that's where I needed to be.
And a lot of people, it wasn't widely publicized nationally, but a lot of people in Texas know about Lone Star.
Right.
The Biden administration decided to open the floodgates, and Abbott was like, there were court battles suing them. The supremacy clause is pretty clear in the Constitution, right? Yeah. So there's a limited amount of stuff he can do, but unlawful presence is still a crime, and
it is completely a crime.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
not a civil issue.
No, it's an invasion.
It is a crime.
I will tell you, as much as I'll tell you the other thing's a bioweapon, I'll tell you this is an invasion.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, so it's like Abbott starts Operation Lone Star, where a bunch of it's some you can speak more to it than I can, obviously, but my understanding was it was some DPS people and then some people from the National Guard, correct, primarily Special Forces guys that went down there.
Well, and I'll give you just a 40,000-foot view on that. So we started out in McAllen with the 3 of the 141. It's known. They're down there. That's an infantry unit. Actually, their first battle streamer is the Alamo, by the way. So William Barrett Travis's boys. So I go there, about typical battalion size. We run from McAllen all the way over to Roma. So it's a pretty long drive, but we have a battalion. Do that 8 hours, full shifts. You can't cover a lot. The other problem with it was they were LPOPs only. All right, so listening posts, observation
posts. So you couldn't.
There was no hands on.
Anything.
No hands on. We briefed for that. Me as the only Green Beret on the border at the time, my job was task force surgeon, and then also liaison. So I worked with DPS guys. They have their own special operations guys on the border. Worked with all local law enforcement, Border Patrol, and then BORTAC, BORSTAR, just liaising, deconflicting. And then looking for a needle in a stack of needles. Understand that sometimes 12,500 people came across a week on 1,250 miles. Yeah. When it started hitting the Haitians in 2021, I believe it was September timeframe, 17,000 Haitians showed up in Del Rio in a 48-hour period. Right, that's overwhelmed. It's bigger than the town of Del Rio. And that's just the ones they counted. That's not talking about the ones that did the end around 6,000 or so other ones that went into town.
The gotaways and all that.
Gotaways, yeah, that's the technical term for that. So you got those. So you can always use that as an indicator of what number really came across, because once you figure out that number, that's a factor, and you go, okay, well, probably about 25,000 people came across the border in that particular incident. So we went back and we asked Lone Star folks, the leadership, all right, can we at least get LEO credentials for our troops? They put them all through training, but it hung up in the JAG's office between the state JAGs or state lawyers.
Can't they just be deputized by the governor, literally? I mean, that's what Lone Star can do.
Yes, it can. And so that was the purpose of getting them deputized.
And that's not a posse comitatus issue because you're Title 32.
Title 32. And actually, technically, they were on state active duty orders. So they weren't even 32, which is great. So it should have went through. But the rules of engagement went like this. If somebody from the Mike side, Mexico, shoots at you, cartel guys, get in your vehicles, your up armored Humvees, and drive away. Are you kidding me? In Texas? No. No bueno. So we came back and said, all right, can I bring some Green Berets on the border? And I met with the governor personally, face to face, in the Del Rio hangar, and I said, and he asked me how many Green Berets we got, and I said, you got one. You got one. There's a saying in Texas. Texas Rangers say this: one riot, one Ranger. That's a saying. So I said, one humanitarian crisis, one Green Beret. And he goes, okay, get more. So he looked at the general, get us more. But he brought the Green Berets down the border not to conduct special operations type missions, but to conduct a JSET, training the troops how to be more effective in observing on the border. It didn't help. So in that, there's an optic and reality to everything, and that was the reality. The thing that really stopped the numbers coming across was President Trump. He did what he did on the Department of State side, DOS, with threatening tariffs and things like that. That's good. Back channel meetings that who knows what was said, the numbers quit, right? Yeah. They quit. So now it's maybe 100 across the border a day, maybe 25. Reasonable numbers, easier to maintain.
Well, they say for the last 30 calendar days, there's been zero. I don't know if you can really say that.
I talk to guys on the border. I don't get the actual numbers anymore, so I can't see it. But I would say that's definitely possible. 30 days, zero. Yeah.
I mean, you can't account for gotaways, obviously.
I can't account for what comes across the Chihuahuan Desert and the Big Bend.
No.
And that's the interesting traffic. Those are guys wearing carpet on their shoes, right? So they can't be tracked. And that's the area that I focused on after I got out and went into more or less contracting on the border.
Yeah. I mean, we got to. This is a problem that should be taken quite a bit more seriously than even we're taking it right now, in my opinion.
It's a literal enemy in the wire.
It's a literal military invasion, and this idea. I remember we were cruising around with these strikers came into our AO one time, and we're cruising around through the AO, and just like ping, 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 ping. I'm like, hey, people are fucking shooting at us, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, but they can't get through. I'm like, that's not the fucking point. Yeah. People have shot at me, and they need to die now. Those are the fucking rules.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You don't run away from the fire.
No.
So what that is, and I both know as infantry guys, is that's a probing attack.
Yeah.
When they're shooting at one of my points on the border, they're at the bluffs at Roma, up in the trees, but it's 50 cal rounds.
Yeah.
Bill Malugin was standing right there, Fox News, reporting, and all of a sudden, bop, 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 and I go, that's 50 cal. And literally later that night, we found out there was an old guy in his house in Roma got hit in the belly. That was sitting in his living room. Nobody talks about that. Bill Malugin didn't put it out on Fox News.
No, when you're a gunfighter, every round has to be answered for, in my opinion.
100%. So we suggested, all right, counter snipers. Let's put some good counter snipers down here, 1 or 2 times. And this is, I'm going to do a reenactment of my sergeant major. He's Cajun, talking to the governor's staff. Listen here, y'all. What you need to do is give us the ability to counter sniper that. I'll put a carcass on this freaking table right here, a carcass from a cartel guy, and it'll stop all this shit. And they were like, no more of that. Now, I'm sitting there with a straight face, and I've got to keep a straight face, and I'm like, yeah, what he said. Because I'm like, that may be a bit much there, Sergeant Major. Relax.
Maybe not on the table.
Yeah, not on the table. It's just a bit much. But he was right in that if you did it one time in a sector, they wouldn't do that anymore. Dogs were key. I got my dog sitting outside in the truck in the AC. He's a working dog. When a dog is barking at night, and you put some signs on the mic side, walk across at night, put some signs in there. Perro es no bueno. Dog is no good. They will stop.
That is universal, by the way. Even in your own home, even if it's a small dog, having a barking dog in your house decreases the chance of break-in by 65%.
Affirmative.
And if you've ever been to the Mideast, they don't really care for them over there. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody anywhere does.
No, even me. If I'm down the range and I hear dogs, I'm going to go, do I need to kill this dog and, maybe have a soft compromise?
Yeah.
I'll just go this way.
Yeah. This Churchill said appeasement is feeding the crocodile hoping he eats you last. That is, when you're talking about kinetic operations, and that's what this is, that is completely unacceptable.
100%. We built a TTP that we will run away, essentially, on OLS.
And they know it.
And they know it.
Right.
And that's the thing. It just chaps my hide.
And it just, it's almost like a jab. It creates standoff. Now you can make a bigger move in that area. That's the whole purpose of doing that.
And that's part one of multiple problem sets. And look, as soldiers, we're always going to complain about problem sets. But that's how AARs work, right? We find out what we sustain, what we need to train, and we improve. Unfortunately, none of that was taken, none of the AARs that we gave. It is what it is. We're looking to a better, brighter future right now. But the enemy's in the wire. How many? 30,000? 100,000? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that number exactly, but I can tell you Tren de Aragua's here. December 18th, 2 years ago, 12,500 Venezuelans came across Eagle Pass. They took them in buses, moved them up to the convention center in San Antonio. Now, I'm out now at this point, but I'm doing counter-human trafficking, so I'm paying attention to bad guys. We get the information on TDA, how many of them came in. We give that to DPS. They do whatever they do with it. That's what we do. We hand information and we share. But what I'm looking at is a job fair in the convention center as cartel guys are driving by picking up guys. They're in the wire.
There's a lot of people here.
And TDA, that's Tren de Aragua, the train of Aragua, the region where the prison was in Venezuela.
Venezuela, yeah.
These are guys that have a tattoo right here of an AK-47.
Yeah, it's the new MS-13 kind of, right?
Yeah, they're thugs.
MS-13 is El Salvador, TDA is Venezuela, and it's the same group of people. They're worse than any of the South or Central American cartels. Those guys.
Yeah, and there's a guy I would recommend
to
get on your show, Jason Jones, former Intel on the Border. He's now a news reporter for Newsmax. Jason, Jaeson. That guy right there knows more. He's forgotten more about cartels on the border than anybody I know. And he and I spent a lot of time together down there. Now he's out and he's doing reporting. But Jason, and we'll all tell you this, you might be thinking CDN and CNJG and Sinaloa. These are bad dudes. No,
they got rules.
They got rules, but the worst ones down there come from Venezuela.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Cartel de Solos, the Sun, that one there is run by the government of Venezuela.
Yeah.
The reason they say Sun is because the general's insignia is a sun. So these are run by the government of Venezuela, who then run Hamas and Hezbollah through there. They've got them docked as Venezuelans. They learn a little Spanish. They walk right by us on the border, high-fiving our troops, figuratively speaking. But this is a problem set. And, you as a guy that's trying to, not say the sky is falling, but to inform people and to, build out a realistic battlefield picture, right? We call it IPB, Information Preparation of the Battlefield. I've got to brief, law enforcement, DPS, both state and local, and I do, and they listen. But some of them, really can't do anything about it until the expenditure's there to conduct that authority or to build that authority to run that operation.
Yeah, that's actually a huge problem as well. Went to business school for a while. It turns out one of the biggest problems that happens in a corporate environment is that and one of the primary reasons that middle management fails is not being given the authority they need to accomplish the job they have to do. That's one of the biggest problems. The other one is micromanaging, and then incompetence, right? Those are the three big ones. I can eliminate for incompetence easily enough. Eliminating for micromanagement is, in my opinion, a function of eliminating for incompetence. Kind of goes hand in hand. And then the last one, you got to give me the power I need to do the thing I need to do. I can't, if I'm, even where we ran into this stuff from time to time where we're in the middle of a gunfight and I've got to get an 05 on the line to get my this Apache to sling some rockets down. No, man, what the hell are you talking about? My FO is right there, and I've got a fire support officer with me as well. I have both.
And you got PID, so you're there calling.
I've got a JTAC on my radio right now. What the fuck? I know where this guy is. I can see him shooting at me.
And those things went like a waveform during the war. In the initial phase, there was none of that. And then after that, it kind of slowed down. The rains came on to where my 2008 mission to Afghanistan, they sent a JAG out after me for, my rear vehicle on a convoy of MRAPs, shooting a taxi all to pieces because it wouldn't slow down. Right now, the guy lived. The driver lived. He got some shrapnel. We put a thing, pull into the fob, and the JAG comes out and tells me, that's a war crime. And I'm like, ain't no war crime. I gave the call from the front vehicle. I'm the commander. Is he stopping? No, sir. He's coming. He's underneath my gun right now. Now he's got to pull. I'm like, take out the engine.
Yeah. I mean, I've been the rear gunner, done that. Actually, coming out of Solder City one time.
Yeah.
I was the rear gunner coming out. And this dude, it was maybe 4 or 5 blocks north of us, a couple of, I don't remember if it was MRAPs or strikers had gotten blown up in a blocking position or getting to their blocking position because we were conducting a raid for this big weapons depot. On the way out, and this, I didn't say shit. I just did it. I'm not asking permission in the middle of stuff. This, probably a Toyota Prince, you know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah.
But comes around the corner and then it's maybe 150 meters away and it starts accelerating towards us. I'm not playing that game. I'm not asking anybody else. I've been here.
You've seen it.
So I didn't kill the guy. I just fucking.
Well, you stopped the action.
I put rounds. I skipped rounds off. Like right in front of the car, so he can see what's happening and see it.
Yeah, and at that time we had rules of engagement, big signs, they could read it, but he was just
stay back 100 feet.
Stay back, and so because there was not a bomb in the truck, therefore the JAG was like, and I was like, well, do what you got to do.
Yeah,
right. But therein lies the exact thing you said. As a commander, very tactically, positioned, not back in a fob somewhere, but in the front, the 5 MRAPs. Hey, look. I've got to trust my guy in the back to know that he's capable of doing what he has to do.
The delay, the ping between ask and answer is too long.
Me calling the base to say, "Hey, can I stop somebody?"
Yeah,
if he was laden with a VBID, done.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of insecurity in your command, in my opinion. Right? Yeah. That's the sign of weak command, and we get that a lot in the military. We overcome it because there's a lot of competence around. When there's weak command in government, though, it's a big problem because
this is a problem.
I think it's much more difficult to overcome that because the impact of government is so broad and the ability to affect it is our ability is kind of acute and it takes a long time to move that big ass ship around.
Oh yeah, it's a cumbersome and it's cumbersome when these things take place. The medical term is an insidious onset, a slow onset of, it could be, moral bankruptcy. It happens over time. There was a French writer in the French Revolution. His name was Frédéric Bastiat, and he wrote this book called The Law, and it's worth reading. It's a treatise. It's a small book, but it talks about, and I'm going to paraphrase the whole book in one sentence. It is the reason that legislators were created is to legally plunder the citizens, right? And that's what they do over time. Yeah. If you don't keep a check on that, they plunder the citizens.
No matter how noble the system of government, it eventually becomes an engine to extract labor and wealth from the population.
That's exactly right. And so when I tell people, you want to read something that's short, sweet, right there it is. And he'll say the same thing over and over again, nine different ways. But that is it. And we've seen that. And we also see cycles, the weak men and weak times, strong men, strong times. Not strong times, hard times will bring strong men. That is a cycle that happens in our nations over and over and over again. And right now, I think we're coming on a new time when, this younger generation right now, especially these kids that are coming out, they're looking for leadership. Yeah. Right. And I mentor a bunch of them. I take them to range. We go shoot. We ruck together. I mean, you're seeing they're just reaching for a real leader. Just in their world and in their world at the tactical level.
Yeah, you see it with animals too. Dogs get all sketched out when you just let them do whatever they want. It's the same as children, right? There's a message there. People need structure in their lives, and they don't have the I guess you could say mental or psychological sophistication at that point to do it for themselves yet.
What I used to tell troops when they come in, if they needed some Vagisil or not, but it was, well, I know what your diagnosis is, son. What's that? You're weak. What? Nobody wants to hear that. But you're weak. You're constitutionally weak. You got a ouchie. but in here, you're weak. I've seen men literally, little tiny piece of shrapnel in their thigh and come over, and I'm like, take their hand off. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, just pull that shit out. What are you doing?
Just go.
Now, my buddy Ben West, he was a fucking lunatic, but they were in Charlotte Company. I was in Bravo. I was in headquarters at the time. Actually, I was the company RTO at the time. His Humvee, he's in the gunner's seat. Humvee gets hit with an RPG right in the front windshield and just spalling glass in his legs. And he goes black on ammo, returning fire before he does anything with a 50 cal. Just going nuts. Then he gets out, pulls all his two of his dudes out of the Humvee and moves them around the corner, grabs his rifle and starts trying to get back into the fight. And his I think his platoon sergeant was Stancil, who went back to RI at the time. He's just like, dude, you got to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
No, we got it. Relax. But that's the dude I'm looking for. You know what I mean? It isn't. There's nothing different physiologically about him and anybody else. No, he just doesn't like it. It's
different size, different ability.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah,
it's just like he decided that that's the kind of person he was going to be. That's what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something that we all have to decide at some point.
Well, there's a certain sense of tactical maturity that takes place over time. It happened to me.
Yeah.
The first time out of the gate when I get into a tick, I did get in that, not black, but I would say I was approaching it, and I'm trying to get out of this tunnel vision. I knew all the words in the books, right? But I knew that we were in a fight, and I'm either going to make a hand or I'm going to be a liability.
Yeah.
And so, quickly ascertained. My truck was blown up. My ears were ringing. I got blood coming out of it. My windshield was blown out, then brought back in that overpressure. But once you get back in, then you have to say, okay, well, that was the 12th of May, 2004. What am I going to do on the 13th of May? Am I going back out of the water with the same vitriol, same speed, surprise, and violence of action? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing I did was I became the best guy in the world in my circle on IEDs and how to identify them. I went back home, got training, and then I started teaching SOFSAT, which is left to bang theory for soft. And I started teaching it because I wanted people to understand the cues. And when I would tell the story about my IED trip, which is just a 3-vehicle convoy going to a neighborhood advisory council meeting, soft target, I got all the antennas on my truck. Of course I'm going to get blown up. So then I started teaching those things, and I used that story to say, hey, this TC in this vehicle effed up. That was me. Right, but I'm telling the story, so everybody's like, "Yeah, what'd he do?" And he got lulled into the fact that we were way behind any action, and it was just a typical day out there in south of the July 14 bridge. The next thing you know, all mayhem. Mahdi Army, Muqtada al-Sadr's guys, they sucker punched us.
Yeah,
but that's how you learn.
That's who ran RAO. Jaysh al-Mahdi, they were putting fucking 155 rounds in dead horses on the side of the road.
That's what mine was, a 155 in the road.
So you can't. I was able to go, so I went on mid-tour leave at some point because we stayed for 15 months. It was supposed to be 6 and then 9 and then 12 and then 15. How it went during the surge part. There were stop loss and people and shit. But on the way back from mid-tour, I got to go to Task Force Troy, which is the IED school at BIOP, which is super nice.
Great place.
It was I really enjoyed that.
I think wasn't there a Paladin too? They were out there doing some of that counter IED stuff.
Yeah, there was a Paladin, and then they sometime after that they sent some dudes from Asymmetric Warfare Group out to us as well. So it was a team of it was a Dev Group guy and his corpsman, and a Delta guy who had just retired, and then an old FBI. I don't know what the fuck he was doing there. Like a 65-year-old FBI dude who was a SSE expert. And he would come on the fucking... He would come on the raid with us and just walk us through the house. I'm like, we're in a fucking war right now, right? This isn't some secure location in Baltimore, dude.
They want to get back in the mix. They miss it. This guy Changiz, I'll just say his first name. Iranian American guy was on the ground at Desert One, the original hostage rescue in Iran. Yeah. And he's in his 60s now. And he's 70.
You're talking about Eagle Claw?
Yeah, Eagle Claw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was on that mission, and he's long retired from Delta, but he was out there doing that counter AD stuff, lessons learned stuff. Yeah. He'd go out with us. I mean, he got in a helicopter crash, and I sutured up his head. And I mean, these are some hard dudes.
Yeah. Well, we need hard dudes. And to get involved more in stuff. Not everybody's going to run for office or anything like that, but you are.
Yeah.
You're running for governor of Texas.
Right.
How's that going?
Well, it's like pushing a large ball up a hill, and I've got 6 clicks to go just to get into the stage where people know who I am, right? And I expected that. We expected that. I was approached months ago by a group of Texans and people from around the country. Hey, would you consider it? I said, not no, but F no. No, I'm not doing this. No, I can't do it. He's got a $100 million war chest. This is the craziest thing ever. And then over time, did a feasibility study. Over time, I said, well, how many things have I've been told no that I can't do in the past? Maybe I'm just crazy enough to try this. And then when I did, and then I noticed the grassroots movement coming up and saying, you're real deal, right? And then, I hate the fact that this happened this way, but there was a flood in Texas, as you know.
Yep.
And I put the campaign on hold and went out there and made a hand 2 hours after it happened there. We were in Ingram. And we're a counter-human trafficking team, but we're also disaster relief. We were in North Carolina for weeks.
Yeah.
And so we know how to hit the ground and set up essentially a base camp, a jump talk, if you will. And then started calling dudes and started calling, first ones were Heroes for Humanity, right? So this is Dennis Price and another guy, John Chase and Christensen and all these guys, Chris Castleberry. I called these guys. These are all MARSOC divers, combat divers, one SEAL that was with them. We brought in some hard hat divers, and so we were actually they were the primary people that were doing the recovery work, because we hit it during the rescue phase, but there was, I didn't have assets, but we're a very small footprint here in Texas. The Remnant Ministry, TX is what we are, but they came in, and then what do? Well, then I basically take an ADCON position, administrative control over the civilians that are out there doing SAR, and I'm putting out sit reps every day, and just making a hand. Right? That's just what you do. Till I find myself in the middle of a special session briefing with the joint Senate and House side briefing on what went wrong, what went right.
Yeah.
And they gave me 3 minutes, and I briefed it, and that was it. But represented the people that were on the 17,000, probably about 20, 30,000 civilians that came out to be the acute phase response, because that's really, you can't wait for the state and you can't wait for FEMA when you've got people in the water alive.
Yeah. No, people just in general. One of the reasons that we set up all of these joint organizations back in the day wasn't even necessarily for them to actively work together, but more to disseminate the information. Like the Army back in the day set up CALL, Center for Army Lessons Learned.
Right.
No one in the Army knows what it is unless you work there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Anymore. So it's
never got anything from them.
Completely pointless.
Yeah.
We've done some task force over time. Asymmetrical Warfare Group was probably the best, in my opinion.
Solid.
During that time period. Task Force Troy was also great at going around teaching people IED stuff. But the JTTFs at the federal level, they're okay. Mostly people send their wobbly wheels over there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Depending on if you're near the flagpole, you get some good dudes. But if you're out in space somewhere,
right? But
maybe.
That when we started doing, and I saw this happen in Syria, and this was really where it really took off, was the fusion cell type of idea where it was bring in team of teams, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm not pushing anybody's books out there, but I'm saying is when you have the operators able to walk in and talk to the analysts and quickly go into the F3 EAD, find, fix, finish, exploit, analyze, disseminate, and then go back into that again. That's OODA loop on steroids. And that's where you start doing operations real fast.
Yeah. That's the part that matters.
That's the part that matters.
Not just being permanently around each other, but the ability that having the fight. This is what makes the ICS system that CAL FIRE developed back in the 70s. That's now the standard for all FEMA stuff, right? Yeah. That's what makes it good, because everybody operates on the same playbook. You don't have to have the same solutions to everything, but this is how we get the solution to the problem. That's the point. It doesn't matter what the particular solution is, because there's a lot of ways to skin a cat.
Absolutely.
The bigger thing is to get the solution to the problem with as much expedience as humanly possible.
Expedience.
You know what I mean?
When we're in an exigent phase, and rescue phase is that phase, right? Recovery. Yeah, I want the bodies to get back to the families, but I can't risk it at the lives of the people that are out there in recovery phase. So at that point, that's when you pull your less experienced people off of the river and say, okay, you go out and let's start getting you on a hub and spoke distribution center for supplies to people. And we could do that, and that happened, and it was great. I mean, we had thousands of people moving supplies all over the place on the civilian side, which augmented the EEOC, that was there in Kerrville, Emergency Operations Center for the state, run by TDEM, Texas Department of Emergency Management. So that's good. Now, there's always going to be, finger pointing, who screwed up and all that, but it doesn't matter on the ground, on the tactical side.
Yeah.
Nobody screwed up out there because everybody's doing it out of their own goodness of their heart.
Yeah, and the people that went out there know what they're doing for the most part.
Oh, with our groups for sure, yeah, because I vetted them personally.
Yeah.
What people are doing carrying boxes from a supply care center, I could care less. But when they're in the water, matter of fact, Heroes for Humanity literally are fire and forget, and they are still out there right now, still working.
Yeah, we sent some guys down there to shoot a mini doc on that'll be out here sometime soon. We got to go do the other show here in a sec, but what's your goal running for governor?
Oh, well, it's multiple goals. It depends on what sector you're in and what will appeal to you. But I'm not the guy that's, the politician, and I'm not the guy that's going to, piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. If I can't do it, I'll say we can't do it. But I'll say, can we bring taxes down? They went up 26% in the last 12 years under the same governor. Can I tell you that we would have a more robust state guard system to include a special mission unit? Yeah, absolutely. You know what requires that? An executive.
If you're a border state, you need it.
And we have a state guard, but it's more like bring sandwiches to the hurricane.
Yeah.
Right? We're not doing that anymore. Florida has an SMU.
Yep.
Texas needs one.
Yep.
And I've already talking to 3 guys that are retired from Delta. They're going to come down. They're friends of mine, and we're going to have them run. I'm acting as though I'm the governor right now in my mind. So we're conducting all the assessments. We've got the policy. We plussed up House Bill 4914, which is to do that, to create a quintessentially premier unit in the state of Texas with regard to the state guard, who goes back also to the Alamo under Bowie. Bowie was the militia guy, and William Barrett Travis was the uniform guy, and they butted heads a few times, but they both died there at the Alamo. And so we need to bring back that kind of honor, prestige, and esprit de corps.
Yeah.
So those are things that on the safety, security side of the house. Then the other things, they fall into different categories based upon the lines of effort and what needs to be done first, but it all has to happen at the same time. So in order to do that, I've got to create task forces, and the governor has the purview, can do that. So the smartest people in the world on decentralized medicine, the smartest people in the world on how to phase out taxes, property taxes, period, all the way, end, and full stop. If you have a kid in the school system, not in the school system, but in a school system area, but he's homeschooled, you shouldn't have to pay for those taxes for kids that are getting trained in that system.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things, but I can't know everything about everything, but I can get pretty smart on it real quick. I mean, I'm talking about data centers that are using up so much water to cool servers that the city of Abilene can't survive on the water they've got, which gets 10 inches of rain a year. Yeah,
and this state needs to build probably 5 to 10 nuclear reactors over the next 15 years, or we're fucked.
Yeah, we can.
I mean, the energy, the data servers that are around here, the energy required for those things is going to grow exponentially over the next 10 years.
The energy and the water. People forget about the water cooling up. It's an evaporative process. You want to put one down there on the ocean and get a desalination plant, go for it. Yeah. Right? But if you can't recapture the evaporation coming off, these are things that I got to start thinking about, and I am, drinking from a fire hose, but they get prioritized based upon need and how close, what kind of target is, I call that a 50 meter, I call that one 100. That's a 1,000-meter target, we can do that. But they all have to happen at the same time. Yeah. There's a lot of things to fix. Yeah, well, definitely a lot of stuff to fix and, ambitious. The good news is it's doable. Florida's knocking a lot of this stuff out, so it's doable. The property tax thing they're trying to tackle right now, the SMU they've tackled, their immigration policy is quite a bit better than ours, even the way I'm in discussion with them, and as well as state of Oklahoma, how they're doing their phasing out their property tax as well. So we're doing homework now in order to jump in and get to work. And we won't be. I'm not courting billionaires. Most billionaires in Texas, I've met some good people. But they all are going to kind of the thing that they know, a governor that they know, it's hard for them to vote against. They're institutionalists for sure. Yeah, and I don't fault them for that. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. But luckily in Texas, as a candidate, you can take money from out of state and there's no cap on it. So there are people. This is a nationwide election. Yeah, it is. This is one of the last stands. For all the stuff that's going on. Well, look, I appreciate you coming today. Tell everybody where they can find you, your website. Yeah, docpetechambers.org, D-O-C, Pete, P-E-T-E, chambers with an S.org. All right, great. Well, thanks for coming today. I really appreciate your time. Yes, sir. Thank you all for listening. This has been Citizen.